Welcome to the Building Savages podcast.
New favorite fitness podcast.
I'm your boy Terrence, aka Building Beast.
I'm Evan Perez, aka EP.
On this podcast, we talk to our fellow coaches, athletes, and everyday gym goers about health, fitness, business, entrepreneurship, self growth, and so much more. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe, or
We'll find you and make you smash the subscribe button. Hope you enjoyed today's topic. Well, we've been in the game forever. So Terrence, what do you think, beyond training, makes a good coaching service?
that's a phenomenal question. So, something I think about often, like outside of just getting people results, like people come for the training, but they stay for the trainer.
Yeah.
And one thing that I think a lot of people don't think about in terms of like being a coach is how well we manage different personalities and different people. And if
Yeah.
you're working, I know you work in small groups, I work in small groups a lot. So the ability to be able to convey a message to a room that all perceives information different is a skill.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's not the easiest thing to do because this person might respond by more fun, this person is more factual, this person is more timid. So it's like you find a way to engage everyone, make people feel comfortable, and still create an environment that's fun and challenging to get the result that you're looking for.
For sure. Yeah, I think there's a whole bunch that go into it, and I think it's personality is like a huge one. It's funny like bringing that up because like it was one of those things where I had a couple coaches. And I love these guys; they're great people, but like they weren't full of personality. And I'm an introvert by nature. I know you are too. But I understand like you need to have a certain personality to be able to do what we do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Make it have a little jokes, have some good music, change the environment, you change the room. You're the thermostat. Like I'm the one that changes it. I'm not the fucking whatever the quote is for that. So having the personality and being able to see the 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 types of people that you have and see the little like um idiocr idiocratic the words are hard. I don't know. But like
Idiocracy.
little
That's
details.
the word. Yeah.
Yeah,
Something
that
like
word right there. Words are hard. Anyway, but like I like little details like we usually use a foam roller for this, but this person likes to use a softball, or this person doesn't do front squats, they do back squats, or this person has a bad knee. I know exactly what to do beforehand. Like I take very great pride in knowing every single one of my clients to the point that I know what they need before they need it. And
Yep.
like something that people tell me that I do really good at, and that's something that I pride myself on is knowing all the little consistencies and all the little habits that my clients have and making sure that they're happy and moving well when they're doing it. But I think also like the personality thing of like making sure that I'm communicating to everybody in their own language, what they need to hear.
Yes.
People need a little bit more motivation than others. Some people just need to be shit on. Like I'm being 100% like today's not like I like they need to be attacked. Some people don't need that. So figuring that out can kind of be a hassle, but like at the same time, like we've been in the game for a while now that I can just see it. Like I can just
Mhm.
the way that you speak, the way that you enter the room, like I know moods. Like oh, like you look tired as shit, bro. Like what's going
Yep.
on? Oh, like oh man, we're gonna have a great day. I can just tell by your energy. Like those things like bring value that a lot of people don't have when they come to like small group or just personal training. They just see the number, see a person, we're gonna do this workout, come back. Like I think we're able to see the person, see the mood, see the way they communicate, see what they enjoy, change it, edit it, throw it right back at them, then come back and make sure that they're feeling good, and then making sure that they're getting their work at like there's so many details that come with creating a great coaching product.
Yes. I love how you put that. Like it's a good coaching product. Like you're managing and now adding online coaching into the mix, right? Like now you're managing people that aren't physically in front of you. Now you start learning patterns, right? Like one thing coaching really did for me was, well, two things it did for me. It made me a better communicator, and it made me a better at observation.
Yes,
So
I agree.
I became a lot more like attentive to detail because there's so many little nuances that we focus on to make sure that we're delivering a good quality product to somebody. So now if someone comes to me with this issue, hey, this exercise has been bothering me, I have the ability to bring up 7 different variations that's going to suit you to your needs. And
Yeah,
now we implement this new programming based off of what just came to me. While this person is dealing with this thing, and we just continue to pull from our tools and resources to always find a glove fit program or approach to make sure that we're accommodating your needs.
yeah,
And dealing with a lot of the population that we do, things change a lot, so you might go in. That's why personally I don't really write like 12-week programs for a lot of people because there's so many things that adapt. Like I'll have a game plan for like 4 to 8 weeks and stuff, but it has so much room for swapping things depending on what starts to happen with somebody,
yeah,
and one of the most important characteristics you can have as a coach is the ability to adapt,
yes.
the
That's
ability to adapt, the ability to manage, and also the ability to continue to carry out a plan while making the necessary alterations to fit that person's needs, wants, and goals.
yes. It's it's fun. I think that what makes like us a little different is I find that so fun. I
I
find
do too.
like finding the ability to adapt, and like that's something that I take very great pride of. It's like each like, and with the group classes too, it's like each group is different, so I have to communicate differently to each group. And sometimes what happens is that I'll coach it one way. I don't like the way I coach it. I'm able to continuously coach a program differently in each group and figure out which works and which doesn't, and it makes me better at communicating
For
to
sure.
for future references, or communicating a certain movement that everybody understands, or how to slow it down, speed it up. Like I look at those details where I'm done with the class, I'm like, all right, how can I make that better? What did I miss? Um, this went too long. How do I change that? How do I make sure moves a little bit more efficiently? How do I make sure everybody's putting enough effort in? What words did I miss? And I
Yeah.
look at it like that, and each one is a different challenge that I have to deal with. Oh, this group was bigger. Like, how the fuck am I gonna be able to handle this clusterfuck? All right, cool. I'm gonna have to split them up. Some of them are gonna do this. Some of them they're gonna do that. So that brings joy into my day because I like controlling chaos. And I think that's something that I pride myself on. And on online stuff, it's like it's a lot of fun being able to write programs for somebody that you don't see is and seeing the progress because you've been doing it longer than
Yeah.
it's like now I'm starting to see the reaping of rewards with some of my clients who have been with me for like a year or for
Mm-hmm.
and like I'm like, damn, like this isn't as hard as controlling chaos, but it's also just as valuable because like I get to communicate with them a different way and starting to figure out like how to make sure how to motivate them from a distance and making sure that they're staying on task. So that's a little bit more of like a
It's
24
a
hour
different chaos online.
different, it's a different chaos
It's a
online.
different chaos for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'll be texting people like just like side eye, like you haven't trained, so I see it, bro.
Yeah, accountability looks very different when you're working with somebody from a distance than like in person.
Exactly.
Like things that in person you can kind of like command to switch right on the spot. It takes a certain level of communication for their online athlete to do for you so you can make those changes. Because
Exactly.
even if someone's not communicating with you in person, there's still certain things that you can visually see that where like, hey, don't do that, do it this way. But
Exactly.
online, it's like if they're not giving you the feedback, if they're not sending you a video or anything of that nature, you're just going to take everything like it's going fine, unless you
Exactly.
would have to really start pulling information from somebody. So it's
Exactly.
definitely a different style of chaos that you deal with,
Yeah,
especially to people who aren't the best communicators that work with you online.
exactly. And I think that's a hard it's a hard sell just because like I need you to communicate, and some people like I just don't want to communicate and they just get their work in and they're done, which are easy clients. And then you have clients that you need to constantly communicate with them and make sure that they're
Yeah.
staying. You have clients that are like they're wishy-washy where they'll do some and they won't do others. So
Right.
how can I change your schedule around to make sure that you at least give me 2 or 3 times a week?
For sure.
So it's a different chaos, but I do think like the product stems from being able to be adaptable to the situations. Like
Yeah.
having a person that having a good personality that people enjoy, um, and finding your clientele, finding your niche that ultimately leads into success as a coach. You know, because
Yeah.
I've met some boring coaches and like you can just read the room. It's like holy shit, like I'm bored just watching this.
And
Like
they have all the great information in the
you have
world.
all the information in the
Yep.
world. You know exactly what you're
No
doing,
charisma.
and no zero charisma, bro. And it crushes my soul because like I look at these classes, I'm like, dude, like if I'm bored and I know exactly what's going on, like you're saying, I wrote this program and you're just butchering it.
Yeah.
And that's also the grand scheme of things is like it's easy to sell programs. And we talked about this before. It's easy to write programs. Programs are the easiest thing to do. I can literally give you a program or any coach a program, and they will never be able to coach it the same way I will because it's just different because I'm different. So like
Yeah. And your
skeleton
personality almost shows in the program a little bit too.
exactly.
Like the
So
little nuances of someone, like if you work with me long enough, you see little nuances that just have my flavor on it.
exactly. Exactly. So like you start seeing the personality and people like start noticing little things like, oh shit, he's gonna do this. And like it's always fun to like they know what's coming next. I find that fun because then I'll be like, all right, you know what's coming next. Next week you won't, fucker. I don't give a shit. So it's it's details that matter. It's the adaptability that matters. It's the personality that matters. Just
Yeah.
showing your flair. Like if you want to do this for a very long time, like you have to enjoy what you're doing. You have to find the the life in the details or the fun in the details of the
Sure.
little things because that's what matters. Like you're not gonna not everybody's gonna come into the gym and like in a great mood or they're gonna come in and tell you the result the how much better they're doing. Like you
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
see it like through the movements. You have
Yeah,
to see
you really have to learn how to manage people. That's
yeah
ultimately what you're doing. It's like you're the boss and these are all your employees. And it's like how do I manage them at the end of the day?
exactly
Um, but like I do find a joy in that. I do find a challenge in that. And what I learned over the years too is like the better you manage people and the more you learn how to adapt and really invest yourself into it, the buy-in and trust that you have with an athlete is just like no other.
wow
Once
wow
someone sees that you know how to adapt to a problem that they have and put a glove fit approach to it that fits them, it's a buy-in. This is
yeah
an immediate buy-in.
it's a they my favorite one of my favorite quotes they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah.
Point blank period. I pride myself on I don't pride myself, but it's always funny like people walking into the gym and they see me and like bald head, short kid, bald hair, like beard, and like I just have a resting beast face. I don't have a resting bitch face, it's a resting beach face.
Resting beast, I love that.
So people automatically think like I'm mean. But like the minute that they walk in, they have a group class with me, they can see how much I care. Because I
Yeah.
don't show I act and I make sure that anybody that comes into the gym is cared for. So I have like I don't like to call them old ladies because they hate that shit. But mature women come into the gym and they're like they see me like, oh shit, like he's gonna be scary. And they automatically I'm automatically the favorite because like I don't care. I literally don't like you just tell me what you need. You just tell me
Yeah.
what you need. If there's a tweak I already know, like just tell me what you need. So they start molding to my personality, start understanding me because it's not just about the face, it's about like the actual care that I give to them. And that's something that you won't get from anywhere else. It's like I care. Even though it
Yeah.
doesn't look like it and I can be an asshole, I actually give a fuck. So
Yeah, see me, it's funny, like on the podcast and like online, I look at my content, I'm like, I'm a lot more serious than I am in like real life.
yeah,
Like I
yeah.
have a lot of fucking fun in the gym, dude. Like you guys
Undoubted.
have no idea the type of fun we have in the gym, but I'm like my online persona and like what I do on the podcast, it makes me look like I'm very, very serious and stern.
Yeah. It's
Complete
just
opposite.
it's just figuring out how to communicate that. It's hard to
Yep.
communicate very communicate a message like on Instagram. I mean, sometimes we have serious talks on here, but like I can't live life without bullshit. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
so
I use my social media so much for like education. You
yeah,
know, so like my thing over time is trying to make education even more fun to present it that way. Cause like if you're with me in person, like, oh man, it's we're through the roof. We're having a blast. But
exactly.
like
Yeah,
a lot of what I post is very much just like very educational, straight to the point, and kind of keep it moving.
yeah,
But
for
I'm like,
sure.
I'm not like that in real life at all. Like the polar opposite.
Nah, man, Terrence is fun, guys. Terrence had to have a good time, man. We went to Miami back in the day, and we know how to ball. Don't worry about us.
Yeah, Miami was a good time, man. Um, Another thing that I look at what makes a good service is punctuality.
Yes.
You know, like there should never be a case where your athletes are waiting on you.
No, I
You know,
hate that.
you should always have the room set. You should have equipment ready. Like you should be prepared for your athletes when they come through the door. I think that's very, very unprofessional. Um, when you're not on time for your athletes, I think it's very unprofessional when you're not showing up and you're having schedule conflicts, and it's hard for someone to understand your schedule, or it's hard for someone to stay consistent with your schedule because like you're just a little all over the place. People don't know if you're gonna show up. Like I know all of this sounds like it's like who would be doing this? It happens way more than you would think,
Yeah, for sure.
you know. And I think it on the other way too. Like as a client or an athlete, you need to respect your coach's schedule. But in terms of just talking about us, like be having that preparation for your sessions and
Yeah,
having that consistent scheduling and access for your athletes to be able to reach you in timely manners and being prepared for that is very, very important. My athletes will never have to wait on me.
no, I hate. I can't even. I don't even like having this conversation because I can't even imagine it.
Yeah.
Saying I know it happens, but like it's one of those things where like, bro, I know I have one client. She's always 7 to 8 minutes late, always, always 7 to 8 minutes late. I still show up 15 minutes early, like
Hmm.
for our scheduled time. Like I can't function like being late. Like it doesn't it's always like on my mind. So yeah, always being punctual is like huge. Like always making sure like you're consistent with online too. Like Tuesdays
Yeah.
communicating, Tuesdays other days you need to communicate. It might not be at a set time, but like you need to make sure that it's on the set time that you, like it's always at 11 o'clock. It should be somewhere around 11 o'clock. Like you don't have to be as I don't think you have to be as punctual online, but you need to make sure that it's always consistent with the days because
Yeah,
people are
my online is a little more flexible. I know some people have like certain days where they use for like their call-ins and stuff. I kind of play it based off of other people's schedule and make it make sense for me.
yeah
But like if I'm booking, I treat like my online calls with people like a session. I put it
yeah
in the calendar, they get a email invitation, like Zoom link, everything in there. So it's like you treat this as your appointment that's coming up. So I'm not taking the, oh, I missed the call or me forgetting about the call, all stuff like that. Like have that preparation and that professionalism because these are the things that your athletes start to look at like, oh, wow, he offered a great service. On
yeah
top of offering a great service, he has great information. He helps me get my results. He shows up.
yes
Literally that. Like he shows up. And that's something that I always tell I always try to tell like new coaches is like if there's anything you really, really want to focus on is I'm like if you love fitness, you're always going to be a student of fitness. You're always going to figure out different training modalities and get that training knowledge on you over time just because you llove it. What you
yeah
really need to focus on is how to work with people and how to
yes
be a professional. If you
yes
can figure out those two things, you're going to be a great coach. And
100%
how to time manage. That's important too.
yes.
That's a big one.
All three of those things are super important. I think people, if you like you said, like if you love fitness, like I think that's a like learning more about fitness is easy for us.
Yeah,
Like
it really is.
it's gonna happen naturally. We're just gonna get there. But
And you
like
train, like you're already on the job doing it with yourself. So like you
I-
just pick up
you're
things.
experimenting, you're training, you're learning, you got new movements. Is sometimes it's gradual, sometimes it's fast. But like that's the easy part. The hard part is like because a lot of us, believe it or not, are fucking introverts. Like learning how to be an introvert and deal with fucking people is like fucking hard. But once you learn how to actually manage and find the fun in the details of it, like
Yeah.
people appreciate that a lot. People will appreciate that a lot and stay with you for a while because they know that they're getting taken care of.
Yeah, coaching starts to become like its own personality after a while. It's like a switch that you can kind of turn on. Like I
Yeah,
remember when I used to run all those group classes a couple years back. Like as soon as I was done with the group class, I was quiet, to the
yeah,
side, recharge, leave me alone. But
yeah,
when that hour turned on, it was like a switch went off and the whole energy in the room just changed because now I'm on coach time. But
exactly.
right
Yeah,
after coach time, like I'm chill as fuck, dude. Mad chill, laid back, crack jokes, fun, shit like that. I'm not like super high energy all day long. That's
no, I get
when the time comes calls for it.
exactly. I have I flip switches too. So like it's almost like my name's like I introduce myself as Evan outside. Like I'm Evan, but like when I'm at the gym, I'm EP. Like I'm a dog. Like
Yeah.
we trading, we getting after it. But as soon as like fucking hour finishes, like I just all right, I'm on my phone. I need to chill for a second because I have to be high energy for this next group. Like I'm
Yep.
performing. I treat this as
Yeah,
like
you start to like preserve your energy because you know where you have to use it.
exactly, exactly. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, I love conversations like this because it really highlights coaches in a different way opposed to just looking at us as like gym rats or just like
Exactly.
gym heads. It's like we know a lot about like good successful coaches that been doing it for a long time. You know a lot about human psychology without
Yeah.
even really studying it. It's just like you just adapted it over all this time. You
Mhm.
have to learn time management.
Yes.
Even if you don't own your own business, like as a coach, you still have to know time management in terms of schedule blocking people. Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
Knowing how to create time for your training, knowing how to create time for your preparation, however that looks.
Mhm.
Um, especially if you're someone who does a lot of PT, you have to have workouts ready. You have to have programming ready. However that system looks like for somebody. I know
Yes.
I program people weeks out in advance and I modify things as necessary. Um, I definitely don't do the write a workout before somebody comes in thing like that. That's not a thing for me because now it's just random training at that point. But just whatever your system is, like knowing how to manage that, run it efficiently. So now when you actually do the session part, it's just more so of you letting everything plan out and you adapt to things in real time and you're not sitting here trying to think of what you're trying to put together for somebody. Even
Nice.
like my assessments, like when someone comes in, I have a system of how I'm doing these things, and the assessments are the hardest part because you're trying to build the buy-in, you're trying to build the trust, you're trying to build the connection for someone who only knows you from an introduction.
Yeah.
And that can be a warm introduction or a cold introduction depending on how they found you.
Exactly.
You know, so there's all these things that you're being intentional about and you're mindful of. Now it gets a little easier when you have someone who trusts you and who's been around you for a little while and you know them like you know the back of your hand. It's like, all right, this person has this issue when they do that, so I'm going to adapt this way. This is why we do this because whatever, yada yada. When that new person, you're continuing to learn and you're continuing to find out things in real time because we assess all of our athletes every single workout. It's not like you have an assessment and it's done.
Yeah. It's just yeah. It's a lot more to coaching than just fucking being a dude or being
Yeah, and just giving workouts.
give a workout. There's a lot more to it. And you can tell the difference between like someone who just gives a workout and someone who actually like is a coach. It's
Yeah,
amazing. So
100%.
all these details, and I think it's cool for people to hear the difference. You know what I mean? Like honestly, like I tell people, I don't care what's on the board. Like if I don't like it, I'm gonna change it.
Yep.
Or like who gives a fuck what's on the board? Like this is just a guide. But
Yeah.
if it doesn't work for you, like my job is to make sure something does.
Yep. That's it.
That's really
My
it.
job is always to make sure we get to the result.
Exactly.
That's it. I'm literally the coach. Take you to point A to point B. However that looks in between point A to point B. that's for me to figure that part out
Sir.
and make it make sense to you.
100%.
And just showing up. Showing
Yeah.
up is very important, man. Like your professionalism is noticed. And
Yeah.
some people don't have as much grace for unprofessionalism than other people do. Like even for me, like I'm a lot more nitpicky on services that now that I offer my own service for over 10 years.
Yeah.
So like I have naturally a higher demand off of services and what it's like to cater to people and treat people because of the type of service that I give off to people.
Yeah.
So for me going into a business, like you damn near got like one shot with me.
Yeah.
Like if something is just off the rip, like the first impressions are very important to me in that case. So, and I don't have any relationship equity there, so I don't really have a buy-in yet for me to trust that this is something that I want to continue with. And it could be a fucking phenomenal service, but if you just don't have that trust and that comfortability because you had such a poor experience the first time around, you're gonna lose out on so much more potential. And that
Yeah.
comes with us too. So it's like you have to show up. Period. You got an assessment coming in and then you don't book the assessment and or you don't show up for the assessment, somebody might look at that like, all right, I'm cool here. Like I
Yeah.
don't really want to explore that again. And that's something that you just have to deal with.
Yeah. No, all this is fucking important. And I think the most important thing is just fucking show for your client, be adaptable, and actually have a fucking personality.
For sure.
That's all you need to
Yeah,
do. I mean, there's
absolutely.
a lot more details and nuances in that, but yeah, I mean, great coaches are hard to find, and just because you write a program doesn't mean that you're a coach.
Yeah, first impressions are a thing. I had to cancel an assessment one time. This was actually like last year a little bit.
Yeah,
And I don't cancel for anything, but I canceled an assessment because some things were going on and that never panned out. It just never panned out. But that was something that like I knew going into this is like, well, this is the first time, this everybody's not gonna have that grace to want to follow back up. And I respected that because I probably would have did the same thing too. And it was the actual matter for me, so I had to. But
yeah,
it just comes with the territory, dude. Like it just is what it is at the end of the day.
for
You can't
sure.
expect everybody to have that grace. You have to show up and you have to give a good service.
Yeah, that all matters, bro. 100%.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you for listening to another episode of the Building Savages podcast. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, set your notifications for all future content. You can catch us on YouTube for videos streaming, or you can catch us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts for our audio. And we will catch you on the next one.
Sure.